Shadows. Chapter 17 Bad Blood Part 2 by Stephen Little. My Little Pony and all associated characters are copyright by Hasbro. The sun slowly rose to bring light to the new day, a day that had already bore witness to dark events in its early hours. Even though the sun shone brightly, beneath the thick canopy of the everfree forest a badly beaten red stallion galloped down an enchanted path in the grim darkness. Every beat of his hoofs caused searing pain to emanate from the 3 broken ribs, but also brought him closer and closer to the parental estate of Equestria's ruling family. Pushing himself as hard as he could, Big Macintosh's body screamed at him to stop. His large hoofs impacting on the ground caused his bruises, muscles, and bones to complain, and the lather building up on his coat was starting to seep in the multitude of cuts along his hide. All his body wanted to do was rest, to allow the aches and pains of the savage beating he received earlier to fade away with rest, but no matter how much his body hurt, it couldn't compare to the ache in his heart. Inside the guard barracks, the infiltrator of the palace guard, still in his armor, sat tied to a chair in one of the few cells they had. Walking into the room, Applebloom was followed by 2 members of the Lunar Corps. The spy looked from one pony to the other, fear stamped on his face. The sound of the closing door and the bolt driving home, locking the door, had a sound of impending doom that nearly made the stallion lose bladder control. What do you want from me?" he asked, his voice shaking with uncertainty. His king had never warned him about this. "Oh, nothing much. Just answers to a few questions," Applebloom said. The stallion relaxed visibly. "For instance, would you like to tell me why I shouldn't let these 2 tear you apart on the spot? You see, lunar ponies are a lot like a familiar, and they don't like it when some pony impersonates one of their brothers. Isn't that right, Ironhoof?" she asked. The stallion in question leaned close to the terrified pony and smiled, exposing row upon row of razor-sharp teeth. The impostor's eyes darted between Ironhoof's maw of death and a set of yellow reptilian eyes that radiated nothing but hate at him. "No, Major, we don't," he said coldly. "You see, I'm in a tricky position that I'm sure you can understand. On the one hoof, I have quite a few of my friends missing, and I'd like nothing better to go look for them, but then on the other hoof, I also have some pieces of scum who likes to go around poisoning princesses. Now, this makes my life more interesting than I generally like it, and I need to know exactly what's going on and why. It's time for our monthly reviews, and I figured, hey, why not kill 2 changelings with 1 stone, and so to that end, I've given the job of obtaining this information to Polly here and Ironhoof." She was non-specific as to how, Polly told him, the mare flashing her own sharp teeth at him. "Polly here is very good at telling when ponies are lying to her, almost as good as my sister, so if I were you, I'd tell the truth," Applebloom suggested. The 2 lunar soldiers stepped close to their major and spoke loud enough so that the captive could hear. "How do you want to play this, Major Filigree?" Polly asked. "You 2 only have to scare him." "Pain is scary," Ironhoof interrupted. "Just do it right this time," Applebloom ordered. As the 2 night ponies walked back to their captive, he finally found a spine. "You have no idea how much trouble you're in right now," he shouted. "Gee, I've never been in trouble before. How about you, Polly?" "Oh, sure, all the time," she answered back sarcastically. "Not like this, you haven't. You have no idea what you're in the middle of." "Let's see if we have this straight. Princess Dawn has been poisoned by something that was meant for Princess Celestia. Ponies have gone missing, namely Prince Dusk, his mare friend, Captains Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle, the Major's husband. Oh, by the way, that's not winning you any points. Have I missed anything?" Ironhoof asked. "You forgot about impersonating one of us," Polly said, turning back to the prisoner. "You see, we earned the right to wear this armor. We paid for it with pain, blood, and tears. Something most ponies except for the Major can't possibly understand. So when we see some pony parading around as one of us, it sort of pisses us off." The impostor tried to muster his courage before responding. "Even if you kill me, others will come." "Oh, we're not gonna kill you. I'm sorry. What's your name?" Ironhoof asked. "Wildcat." "Yeah, we're not gonna kill you, Wildcat. We're just gonna chew on you a little bit. A bit here, a bit there. I was sent to spy on you and report everything about every pony here. They even know how many nose hairs you have," Wildcat shouted quickly. Ironhoof sighed disappointedly. "They don't know a damn thing. It's all over your face. I was gonna get me an ear, too." "Didn't they teach you how to withstand an interrogation? You can even tell a lie decently," Polly said in disgust. "Now, how about you tell us what's really going on?" "I'm sorry, I can see you're not stupid," the prisoner said. "I wish I could say the same about you," Applebloom interjected as she walked over and lifted the helmet from the stallion's head. As soon as the helmet was removed, the stallion's coat turned white, his eyes turned blue, and his mane red. "That's better. I hated the sight of a lunar stallion tied to a chair, even if it was a disguise." "I concur," Princess Luna said as she stepped into the room. Wildcat froze in terror. "Princess, what are you doing here?" "One of my guards discreetly informed me of your discovery, and I needed to see for myself," she informed the major. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I wish to have words with our prisoner." "No," Applebloom said defiantly. "I can't allow that, Princess." "How dare you defy me?" Luna yelled at her. "Yes, Your Majesty, you are not only my princess, but you are also my friend, and as your friend I cannot allow you to harm this pony," the major tried to explain. "We are a force of good in this world, and if we allow ourselves to go down the road of torture and savagery, then how can we look ourselves in the mirror and be sure that we're the good guys?" "You will not deny me my vengeance," the princess yelled. "Polly, Ironhoof, restrain her." The two ponies in question rushed over to the princess, blocking her path. Applebloom ran back to her captive swiftly. "Wildcat, whatever you have to say, I implore you tell us quickly. What's going on?" The yellow mare pleaded with him. "Please, they can't hold her back for long, and when she breaks free, you're as good as dead. Now tell me." "He's after the throne," Wildcat yelled. All the commotion in the room suddenly died down. "Our king is after Equestria's throne. He's tired of mares ruling the country and messing things up for stallions. He wants to rebuild the country as a particular so stallions will finally get a fair chance. That's why he stole the children of the elements of harmony and the children of any family touched directly by the princesses." "What kind of slime stoops to kidnapping foals to force his own agenda?" Applebloom asked, not really expecting an answer. "I assume he means to hold them hostage in order to secure the princess's cooperation. And what about Princess Dawn? Was poisoning her part of your king's plan too?" "Yes and no. He was informed about Princess Celestia's activity with the creature and had her food treated with a tansy herb to ensure no air would be produced. The herbs were measured with Celestia's mass in mind. We had no idea her niece would consume the food." Who was it that poisoned the food?" The stallion was hesitant to answer. Applebloom grabbed the pony by the mane and shook him violently. "Who the buck was it?" she screamed into his face. "Sawbones. It was Dr. Sawbones who tainted the food," Wildcat yelled, like his life depended on it. "I must commend you, Major. That worked better than I previously thought," Luna said, erasing the image of uncontrolled rage from her face. "I told you the out-of-control princess act would loosen his tongue," Applebloom said smugly. "It was all an act? All of it was just an act? But when—" Wildcat asked angrily and confused. "We set this up in advance while the guards were securing you in this room. Don't be fooled, though. The princess is furious with you and your cohorts, and I'm equally pissed. We are just able to keep a tight lid on it. After all this is over, I really would not want to be in your shoes," Applebloom informed him. "Major, I want you and 3 of my night guards to arrest Dr. Sawbones and bring him before me," Luna instructed her. "What about him, Princess?" Polly asked. "Strip him of that armor and throw him into the dungeon. I'll deal with him later." The armor the spy was wearing came off simply enough, and the stallion was dragged off to the dungeon. Luna kicked the false night pony regalia contemptuously. "As soon as possible I want this armor destroyed. Its mere existence is an affront to my guard." Apple Bloom picked up the spy's helmet and held it in her hooves when she had a sudden flash of inspiration. Placing the helmet over her head, she could feel the enchantment take hold, turning her coat gray, her mane and tail black, her eyes yellow and her teeth sharp. While all of this was rather expected, the one thing that was quite surprising was that the armor also made her appear male. "What the hey?" Apple Bloom asked in surprise, her voice sounding every bit like Wildcat's before the armor was removed. "Major, what in Equestria possessed you to put that on?" Luna asked, a little annoyed. "It just occurred to me, Princess, that if we are going to arrest Dr. Sawbones, what if there are other spies hanging about? If they see me go arrest him, they may report back to their masters about it, and then the element of surprise is gone. However, if I go in disguise, with 3 other stallions posing as traitors, then we may be able to find out much more before he realizes he's being interrogated. Then, of course, we arrest him, but by then he'll have given everything up before he realizes it," Apple Bloom explained. The princess stood there in mock surprise. "That's brilliant, Major, but one thing first, let me see that helmet." The yellow mare gave the helmet to her princess and watched as she placed it with the rest of the armor. Extending her magic around it, she sighed. "It's as I thought. The only enchantment on this armor is that of illusion, no added protection or strength. We'll have to fix that." Surrounding the armor again with her magic, it seemed to glow a bit, then settled down to its normal appearance. "Is that it?" Apple Bloom asked. "Is that it?" the princess parodied. "I just gave that armor the same attributes that worn by my sister's solar guards." "You know, you could have just given me a set of my lunar armor with an illusion enchantment on it," Apple Bloom said as she buckled on the door. Luna was frozen for a moment at her friend's comment. "Would you really want something like that?" "Sure, why not? I mean, your guards seem to handle it just fine, and they have better fighters while wearing it, so sure. Why wouldn't I want a set for myself?" Polly and Ironhoof returned from the dungeons when they heard the conversation the Major and Princess Luna were having. "Major, I don't think you quite understand," Polly said as they entered the room. "You know about us, and you know what this armor does to us, but it's not just something you can take off at the end of the day. When you put this armor on, it stays on." Both of them tapped the teal eye on their chest, and the armor shrunk back into a gold medallion that hung around their necks. "Polly's right, Major. You may not see it, but you always feel the weight of it on your back. It never goes away. The power, the hunger, it's always there. We hear the ancestors, the lunar stallions of old, calling to us in our minds, guiding us in battle and all in things. We will speak of this another time, but for now I suggest we see to the not-so-good doctor," Luna said, escorting the 3 ponies back out into the main barracks, where the rest of the Lunar Corps waited. Outside the royal residence, on the castle side of the Misty Gorge Bridge, 2 Pegasi of the Solar Guard stood quietly at attention. "Hey, Featherweight!" The white Pegasus on the other side of the road remained silent. The normally light tan pony kicked a pebble at his partner. "Hey, Featherweight!" he whispered loudly. "We're not supposed to talk, Pound Cake." "I know, but I'm so darned bored," he said, his voice carrying the slight hint of a whine. "And hey, I thought I told you to call me Pound. It's weird for ponies to use my full name all the time." "Yeah, well, I'm older than you, so I'll call you whatever I want. Now, if you don't button your lip, I'll call you on report in a minute," Featherweight told him. "Sorry, I'm just ticked that we're missing out on all the action," he said. "I just wish we were in there helping out. I'd love to get my hoofs on whoever poisoned the princess. What was Apple Bloom thinking? You and I watched her grow up from a foal into the beautiful mare she is today. We should be helping out," Pound Cake complained. "We are helping out by keeping guard on this bridge and ensuring that no pony approaches the castle. And before you forget, the Major was there when the princess was born, and after she returned to Ponyville, it was her that Princess Luna and Princess Twilight entrusted with the safety of their family. Don't think that we are the only ones that care about Princess Dawn. Every guard in this castle loves the royal family and are doing their part to ensure their safety." "Dang, Featherweight, you sound like you're bucking for a promotion," Pound Cake said with a small smile on his face. "No, it's just that this whole situation reminds me of something my mentor, Big Macintosh, used to say." "Big Macintosh, isn't that the Major's older brother?" "Yes, it is," Featherweight confirmed. "He helped me become the pony I am today instead of the scrawly little twig I used to be. Anyway, when I told him I wanted to join the princess's guard, he told me that it didn't matter how big I was or how strong my muscles were. He said that what mattered most was that I put all my heart into what I did. He told me that if I did that, then I'd never go wrong. I have a feeling that a lot of the guards here feel the same way, especially the major." "Well, I certainly can't argue with that." Poundcake was lost in thought for a moment when he remembered something he wanted to ask his partner. "Hey, Featherweight, we've been partners for what, a couple of months now?" "Yeah, something like that." "I was wondering, since you and Ironhoof seem to be hooking up, do you think you could get him to put in a good word for me with his partner? I mean, that Polly is such a hottie." "Okay, first off, why don't you go talk to her? Secondly, Polly is a Luna mare, and she'd most likely break you in two. And last, who says I'm hooking up with Ironhoof?" "Oh, come on, Featherweight. I see how you two look at each other. Trust me, every pony in the barracks knows. We're just waiting for you two to admit it. Not that it's any of your business, but neither he or I are ready to let any pony in on our relationship. But if you want, I'll ask him to talk to his partner. But if you end up in traction, it's your fault, not mine." "Thanks, Bud," Poundcake said with a smile. Something large and red came hurtling down the path as the two Pegasi finished their conversation. Big Macintosh erupted into view from behind a bend in the manicured path through the forest. The large stallion galloped down the road and across the bridge, only to find his path blocked by the two solar guards. Being a large draft pony, Big Macintosh couldn't exactly stop on a bit, so when the two ponies barred his path, he barreled into them like a runway wagon filled with bricks. Had it not been for the additional strength and durability granted to them by their armor, they would have been knocked senseless. Shaking the stars from their eyes, the two stallions stood up and helped the other to his hoofs. "What's the rush, Big Macintosh? You act like your tail is on fire or something," Featherweight asked. Macintosh was a bit wobbly as he stood, but as soon as the draft pony was steady, the guards were able to get a good look at him. "Dear Faust, what happened to you?" Poundcake asked.
"I got jumped by a dozen or so Earth pony stallions. Big ones, too. I tried to fight them off, but they had a few unicorns with them to hold me down, so I couldn't fight back."
"What about Fluttershy and Sunchaser? Did they get away okay?" Featherweight asked.
"Fluttershy was at the hospital helping Rarity and Ditsy with their faults. Those cowards took my son, and they took Toffee, too. Caramel was the one who brought me back to my senses after they left. Apparently they got to the farm, too. I don't know what happened to Pinky and the others, but Caramel gone into town to find out. I came here to raise the alarm."
"Poundcake, fly to the castle and let them know what's happening. I'll help Macintosh," Featherweight ordered. Without a word, the other Pegasus took off like a shot towards the royal residence, while Featherweight lent his strength to the side of his old mentor, allowing him to lean on him as they both walked towards the castle. "Come on, you stubborn mule. Let's get you to the castle and get you fixed up. I'm sure your sister and the princesses will know what to do." As Luna, a disguised Applebloom, and 3 stallions of the Luna Corps walked down the hospital wing of the castle, Twilight, Kiran, and Celestia came charging from the other direction. "Luna, where's Applebloom? We must see her immediately," Celestia asked in a panic. "What's wrong, sister? It's not Dawn, is it?" "No, dear. Our Dawn is resting quietly. The doctor says the worst is behind her. Big Macintosh was just brought in and looks as though he was beaten badly. We put him in the same room with our daughter so the doctor could look after them both. Macintosh told us that his son was stolen, as well as little Toffee. He also told us that Rarity and Ditsy are at Ponyville General having their faults right now. Applejack and Caramel are on their way now to make sure nothing happens." "Yes, I'm aware of what's happening, but it's something that can be saved for later. For now, let's get to the hospital and hope we can catch those miscreants before they do any more harm." Luna turned to the guards in attendance. "Go and take care of the issues we had discussed earlier, and please remember I want him alive if possible." The disguised Applebloom saluted smartly.
"As you wish, Your Majesty,"
was all she said before silently trotting down the hall with the 3 stallions following quickly behind. "Sister, what's going on?" Celestia asked. Luna moved closer to the other 3 and spoke to them in a hushed tone. We've discovered a spy in the ranks of the guards. He's in the cells now, but we were able to glean some information from him. We discovered that it was Dr. Sawbones that poisoned the food. Applebloom and the 3 other guards are going to arrest him now." "But we left Dawn and Macintosh in his care," Twilight shouted. "It's okay, my love. We've learned that they do not want to hurt the children in any way. They need them. Come, I will explain all of this later. We best get to the hospital to make sure everything is okay." Applebloom and her 3 hoof-picked guards silently approached the room where her older brother and Dawn were resting. Flitting from shadow to shadow, the quartet of ponies moved like rays before finally arriving at the room's door. Turning to the 3 stallions behind her, she spoke softly. "Let me go in first. We have no idea what awaits behind this door. If everything's all right, then we move in and arrest that son of a whore. Now, there may be a chance that the enemy has friends in there, so we may have to keep the act up for a little bit. With that in mind, I want you 3 to remember, these guys don't like mares for anything but foal factories, and that means you guys don't like mares either. That shouldn't be too hard for you, Ironhoof." The other 2 stallions snickered quietly. "Shut up, you guys, or I'm going to sick Polly on you," Ironhoof threatened. The 2 stallions became silent as a grave. Both of them knew of Polly's ferocity in the field, and neither of them wanted to be on the receiving end of her hoof. Applebloom cautiously opened the door and walked into the dimly lit room to find Dr. Sawbones packing up a medical bag.
"Wildcard, it's about time you show up. Help me pack this stuff. We need to get out of here quickly."
The mare scanned the room and winced slightly at the sight of her bandaged brother laying in the bed against the wall, the princess nowhere to be seen.
"Where's the princess?" she asked.
"She's already through the portal," he said, indicating the large Elecon-sized mirror against the wall.
"Hurry up. We have no time to lose. Gordon will be opening the portal soon, and we need to get going before Celestia and the others return." "What about that one?" she asked, indicating her brother. "You want me to dispose of him?"
"You're getting as bad as Sky's Wildcard. You know His Highness wants them alive. The ponies that ambushed him should be beaten for injuring him so badly." Yeah, hey, I think I have something that will make the king happy." "Oh, what's that?" Sawbones inquired. "I located a few stallions who share his dislike of the princesses," she announced loudly as she opened the door. Ironhoof, Shadowwing, and Midnight entered the room silently and stood at attention in front of the door. 3 of Princess Luna's own guards. Impressive. "And why is it you don't like the princesses?" he asked the 3 stallions in front of him.
"Are you kidding?" Midnight asked. "Have you seen what's going on around here? It's not bad enough that mares are ruling us, but now they're replacing us as breeding partners. I mean, that's the one thing we could count on, but now Luna and her concubine Twilight have figured out a way to take even that from us."
"His Majesty said something similar to me not too long ago," Sawbones said.
"And don't get me started on that bitch of a commander she settled us with. I mean, seriously, she comes out of nowhere and we're just supposed to take orders from her?" Ironhoof added.
"Dang Wildcard, and I thought you said you were the only pony who hated her," the doctor said with a half-smile.
"What can I say? Great stallions think alike," she said, mentally reminding herself to give Ironhoof an extra KP duty when this all was over.
"And what about you, Pegasus? You've been fairly quiet," Sawbones said, staring at the steel-eyed stallion.
"I helped evacuate Ponyville years ago when Discord first reared his head. I was even given a commendation for my actions, and now I find out that that monster is back and checking up with Princess Celestia. He may look different, but I can tell that it's the same monster. She doesn't deserve to rule us if she's willing to betray us for it," he said through a clenched jaw.
The doctor recoiled a bit at the anger beam projected by the stallion in front of him.
Okay, then we should get going through the portal before Gordon shuts it down," he said as he grabbed the bag he was packing and trotted through the mirror.
"Major?" Midnight asked in a hushed tone. "Follow him. Keep the act up and take notice of everything. You never know when we'll have an opportunity to help the princesses when they come to rescue the others." "But, Major, are you sure the princesses would walk into such an obvious trap?" Shadowwing asked. "Of course they will. Whoever this maniac is has no idea what he's started. The princesses will come, and when they do, we'll be there to back them up. Now jump through that mirror," she ordered. The 3 stallions and 1 mare disguised as a stallion jumped through the mirror to find themselves in the throne room of another castle, one where the walls were grey and cold, a castle that was stark contrast to the one they had just left. "Your Majesty, as promised, 3 new stallions to swell our ranks," Dr. Sawbones said, introducing the newcomers. "Excellent job, Doctor. Let's see who we have here," a white unicorn stallion said as he walked into the room. It took all the control Applebloom could muster to keep her jaw from hitting the ground. Standing before them was none other than Prince Blueblood, wearing a cape of royal purple and a large silver crown. Remembering whom she was impersonating, she bowed low, indicating to the others that they should do the same. "Your Majesty, I found these 3 stallions while performing my duty. I swear to you that they will be as loyal to you as I." "You may rise, Wildcard. I must say that your time in the palace has been good for you. You seem much more eloquent and a good deal more respectful. I approve. Good stallions, you may remove your trappings of feminine enslavement," he said to the 3 stallions in front of him. "I wish we could, Your Majesty, but we are locked into this armor. We cannot remove it. Princess Luna insisted that her guards be on full duty at all times," Ironhoof lied. "You poor stallions," Blueblood said, a look of sorrow on his face. "I am truly sorry for your plight, but rest assured I will have my best unicorns working on a way to get you out of that armor. Until then I have an idea that will turn this to our advantage." The prince noticed the doctor standing there, proud with himself. "Dr. Sawbones, attend to your patient." "But, Your Majesty, I assure you that she is fine," he tried to explain. "Need I remind you, Doctor, that it's your lack of foresight that caused the princess to become poisoned, and let me tell you something else. If she dies, then so will you. With that in mind, I suggest you make sure she's in perfect health." "About that, are you trying to tell me that your poison is killing her? Do you have any idea what that does to my plans?" "No, you misunderstand, sire. Princess Dawn will be fine, but the amount of the extract that she digested may have left her, barren," Sawbones admitted. Blueblood grabbed the pony with his magic and threw him towards the door where the princess was resting. "See to her and pray her condition does not get worse," he bellowed. The doctor quickly picked himself off the floor and fled behind the door to attend to his charge. Blueblood turned to the 4 stallions in front of him. "As for you 4, he said, regaining his former composure, "I want you to keep watch over our guests in the next room. The sight of you working for me should crush their spirits. Here, let me introduce you." The prince escorted the 4 stallions to a room on the other end of the hall and knocked on the door lightly. A dark grey earth pony with a silver mane opened the door from inside. "Hello, your kingship. Anything I can do for you?" "No, Skies. I've come with some new guards for this bunch. I have new orders for you and your cohorts," Blueblood said. As Skies and 2 other stallions left the room and the night guards entered, Blueblood stopped Applebloom. "Wildcard, as long as you are guarding these ponies, I want you to stay in disguise. The more guards they think have turned, the better." "I understand," she said. The prince walked into the room, followed by Applebloom. "Good morning, my fine guests. I have come to bring you some new guards that aren't as brash as my dear associate Skive." The other ponies in the room looked in shock at the 4 stallions standing in guard. Dusk, Garnet, Dinky, Scootaloo, Sweetiebelle, Aiden, Melody, and Tootsie Flute could only stand there with slack jaws. Toffee and Chaser cowering behind Garnet. "What kind of trick is this, Blueblood?" Dusk shouted. "My mother's guards would never ever betray us." "Says the royal brat who spends his days and nights who knows where." "Ironhoof?" Scootaloo asked. "The filly-fooling reject decides to speak," Shadowwing spat. "I only wish we could have delivered the other one. I'd love to see the look on her face right now." "Either way, these 4 are your new guards. Play nice," he said with a smile as he motioned towards the door. "Your Majesty, what's to keep them from using their magic to overpower us? I mean, these 4 of us and 8 of them, not counting the foals." "My dear Midnight, and 6 more before too long, but don't worry, this is a special room. During my captivity years ago, I ran across a stallion with this amazing talent, and in exchange for freeing him, he was pledged his loyalty to me and even created this room. I love this room. Pegasi can fly, unicorns can't use magic, and earth ponies have no strength. To think the princesses had him rotting away in a cell, such a waste of talent. As for you and your cohorts, it appears that you're unaffected. I'll have to talk to Dawn about that. Uncle, please don't do this, Aiden pleaded. Don't worry, my nephew. When this is all over, you'll thank me, Blue Blood remarked, as he left the room and closed the door behind him. Watch the door, Applebloom told the other quietly as she strolled towards the captives. Don't you take another step closer, you traitor, Dusk growled in her face. Tootsie flew right behind him. Don't involve yourself in things you don't understand, princeling, she said as she walked around him, making a beeline for Garnet. Standing in front of her husband, she yanked her helm off and kissed the unicorn passionately as the illusion wore off, returning her to her true form. Hey, baby, did you miss me? Spike walked into the recovery room with his father-in-law, Reginald, and Julian on either side of him. Oh, I'm so happy you were able to get here. The tempting physician insisted we come to this room, but I don't know why. It's so far out the way, Fluttershy said. Did we miss everything? I'm afraid so, darling, but not too late to meet your new daughter, Rarity said as she uncovered the sleeping baby next to her. When she removed the blanket, Spike saw the most adorable thing he had ever laid eyes on. Pink was the first sin that registered in the dragon's mind. Very pink. She appeared like an even mix of both dragon and pony. Dragon in the front and pony in the back, but even her dragon half was covered in short pink fur, with a two-tone dark and light pink mane and tail. Spike reached over and tickled her light pink chin. His breath was caught in his chest when she opened her eyes and looked up at him with the same deep blue eyes as his wife. Reginald nuzzled his daughter. Oh, Rarity, she's beautiful. The whole moment was ruined when Julian gave out a girlish scream. Ginger! Finally, Ginger! Dear, please keep it down. You don't want to wake him, Ditsy pleaded. Have you two thought about names yet? Reginald asked. Well, I was thinking about Ruby. After the delivery, Fluttershy patted her on the back, and she let out a red flame when she started to cry, Rarity said. I wanted to talk to you first, Spike. I guess the rubies you were eating really did affect her, he said, scratching the back of his head. You always know I differ to you instances like this, and in this case I think Ruby is perfect. And I named my little boy Gingersnap. I hope that's okay, Ditsy said. Gingersnap? Julian asked, giving his wife a strange look. It's better than Ginger, Mac Ginger Pants, she argued. But that's a great name, he tried to argue. No, I'm not scaring our son for life because you like weird names, Ditsy said, figuratively putting her hoof down. Pinky, Jato tried to ask before being cut off. Oop, 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 oop. I thought I told you to call me Mom, Pinky insisted. Okay, Mom, do we need to be here? Not trying to be insensitive, but I promised my mom and dad that I'd have the house cleaned up before they get back from Cloudsdale, the Blue Pegasus explained. Okay, we'll go talk to Twilight first and then Honey, and I can help you, Pinky said with her usual giddiness. Applejack and Caramel burst into the room, practically slamming into Spike's side. At the same moment, Kiran and the three princesses teleported into the room. Some pony is stealing our children, the 5 ponies shouted at the same time. What's going on? Fluttershy asked. Some pony broke into the farmhouse, knocked us out, and stole toffee from us, Applejack said, trying to control her tears. They beat up Mac pretty good and took Chaser as well, Caramel added. What? Some pony has my little son Chaser? Fluttershy shouted in shock. Is Macintosh okay? They didn't. Twilight walked up next to the yellow Pegasus and put a wing around her. I'm sorry, Fluttershy. Macintosh is okay, but it's all true. They even have Dusk. Believe me, we are going to do whatever it takes to get our children back safe and sound. We have one of them in the dungeon right now, and Applebloom should be arresting another as we speak, Luna informed them. We came here as soon as we found out what was happening to make sure nothing happened to the newborns. Indeed, I think we should move every pony back to the castle where it's more secure, Princess Celestia suggested. Are Rarity and Ditsy okay to be moved, Miss Redheart? They should be fine, but I would suggest they be monitored for a while, especially Rarity. That's just what I wanted to hear, a stallion said as he stepped from behind a curtain that concealed the far wall. Caramel recognized the tan unicorn from earlier in the morning. "You!" shouted Caramel as he charged the newcomer. Before he could reach him, he was encompassed in the aura of one of the 12 or other unicorn stallions that entered the room from behind the curtain. "Where's my daughter, you son of a whore?" "Your child is safe, as is Princess Dawn and all the others," he said, noticing the shocks on Twilight and Luna and Celestia. "Yes, princesses, that's right. We have the other one as well. You really should be certain of the loyalty of your guards, Princess Luna." Every mare, stallion, and one very pissed-off dragon in the room stared at the newcomers as if their very gaze would cause the intruders to burst into flame. "If you wish to remain alive, you have exactly 2 seconds to tell us where our children are," Spike snarled at them. The 10 unicorns that had entered first threw a scroll in their direction. "Read this when you wake up. It will explain everything." Without further warning, all 13 unicorns cast the same sleep spell over the party at the same time. Anything less would have not affected the princesses. As the ponies collapsed where they stood or lay, one of the other unicorns walked towards the unconscious group and started to bind Jato's hooves. "Damn slumber. Getting a bit long-winded, don't you think?" the light orange unicorn asked. "I told you to never call me that, Freestone," he said, as the sleeping Rarity and Ruby were wheeled through the large mirror that was once hidden behind the curtain. "Maybe I should tell His Majesty that the only reason you joined our little crusade is so you could get the Apple family out of the way, so you could see a boost in peach sales." Okay, fine, Night Watch. Don't get your tail in a knot," Freestone said as he slung the young Pegasus across his back. "Could you at least grab the mare and help out before the princesses wake up? That spell of yours won't last long." Yeah. Nightwatch looked at some of the others who were just standing around after casting the spell. "Don't you just stand around. Make yourself useful. Grab the dragon." Celestia woke slowly by the shaking of her lover. She woke to see Kiran kneeling over her. "Oh, thank goodness you're awake," he said. "What's going on?" she asked. Looking around the room, she saw that Rarity, Ditsy, the Folds, Jato, and Honey were gone. Pinky, Julian, Reginald, Twilight, and Luna still lay asleep, as well as Nurse Redheart, but Spike was nowhere to be seen. "Where is Spike? Did he wake already?" she asked.
"The dragon? I didn't see him when I woke up. He must have gone after them or went to find others to help. I'm sure he is okay," he told her.
Celestia looked around nervously and quickly got up to wake her sister and Twilight.
"Celeste, what's wrong? Is there something important about that dragon that has you worried?"
"Yes, but it's not something I don't want to talk about right now. He's a grown dragon. I'm sure wherever he is, he can take care of himself," she said, trying to convince him as much as herself. One by one, the ponies in the recovery room woke to find the worst waiting for them. The children were gone, as well as some of their friends. "Where are they? Where did they take Ditsy?" Julian asked in anger. "We don't know, Julian, but I think this may give us a clue," Twilight said, picking up the scroll that was thrown to them with her magic. Unrolling the scroll, she read it aloud for all to hear. "Dear Princess Celestia and all involved parties, I have your children. Who I am is not your concern, but that I have your children is. I will give them all back to you, unharmed, provided that you follow my instructions to the letter. You are to meet me in 1 week at Platinum Castle. You will bring with you no guards. You will not alert the media, and you will not attempt any form of rescue mission. If you abide by these rules, no harm will come to your loved ones. If not, well, so much for the next generation. Remember, Celestia, 1 week. Don't be late." Twilight's anger burned so hotly she dropped the scroll out of fear it would burst into flame. How dare he use our children as leverage to get what he wants?" the Lavender Alicorn yelled. Pinky and Fluttershy sat in shock as they tried to get a handle on what was happening. Reginald, for his part, did the best he could to comfort them. "Do you really think it's a trap?" Luna asked. "Most certainly, sister, but what choice do we have? This individual is holding all the cards, and we know next to nothing about him," Celestia explained. "This was all a trap," Nurse Redheart said. "It would explain why the attending physician insisted we use only this recovery room. Everything was set up in advance, but how could they know?" "I assume that whoever is pulling the strings here has been watching every pony involved for some time," Twilight said, trying to keep herself calm. "Your Majesty, what, and more importantly, where is this castle the note spoke of?" Julian asked. "Platinum Castle is in a ruin of the old Unicorn monarchy that stands far to the east, overlooking Demon's Run Canyon." "What?" Julian asked as he'd just been slapped. "That's not possible. It's too much of a coincidence." "Julian, what's wrong? Do you know something about this?" Luna asked. "I may, but I'm not sure at the moment," the chestnut stallion said. "In either case, I think we should return to the castle to plan our next move," Celestia said, gathering the ponies around her. "Skies, night watch. See that our guests are comfortable when they wake," Blueblood said as he watched the two stallions wheel the beds into the room holding his other captives. "Mom?" Sweetie Belle and Garnet shouted in unison. Dinky didn't say anything, but instead tried to rush to her mother's side with the other two. Before they could traverse half the room, the 4 night stallions standing guard blocked their path. "How sweet," Blueblood teased. "Bring in the others," he hollered. Several other ponies walked in, carrying Jato and Honey between them, and slung them unceremoniously to the floor, while Dr. Sawbones wheeled in another bed containing a still unconscious Dawn. As soon as Blueblood's henchmen had departed the room, the night stallions regained their post by the door next to the would-be king, allowing the ponies to seek out their loved ones. Garnet and Sweetie Belle rushed to Rarity, while Dinky practically flew to her mother's side. Shaking her gently, Ditzy slowly opened her eyes. "Muffin, is that you? Are you okay?" she asked, still a bit groggy. "Yes, Mama, it's me. I'm okay, and so is every pony else," her daughter reassured her. "How's Rarity? She had a hard time with her delivery," the Grey Pegasus asked, her mind starting to clear. "I'm fine, dear. Thank you for asking," Rarity told her. Garnet and Sweetie Belle hugged their mother tightly. "Not too tight, darlings. You'll squash your little sister," she said, pulling back the blanket to reveal the sleeping baby next to her abdomen. The infant's older siblings couldn't help but fawn over the newest addition to their family. "This is all very touching, but I'm afraid I must be going. I have another guest I must attend to," Blueblood said as a fearsome roar sounded from the hallway. Garnet left his mother's side intently, staring at their captor. "What do you want with my father?" he growled between clenched teeth, steam rising from his nostrils. "Nothing much, my dear boy. Just a bit of baiting, a little torture, a smattering of revenge, to be honest. I haven't decided yet," Blueblood taunted. Ditzy could feel her daughter's attention being torn between her and Dawn. With her nose, she gave Dinky a gentle nudge towards the sleeping princess. "Go to her. I'll be okay," she said softly. "Please, Blueblood, don't hurt him," Rarity pleaded. "It's good to hear you treat me with the proper respect for a change," he quipped. "How's it feel to be brought to your knees, to be completely at my mercy?" "I feel sorry for you," Ditzy said matter-of-factly as her son began to feed again, snuggling against her abdomen. "Ditzy, what are you doing? Don't aggravate him. You have no idea what he'll do," Rarity said almost in a panic. "It's okay, Rarity. We have nothing to worry about," the Grey Mare said. "How can you be so calm?" Jato asked, shaking the last of the sleep spell from his mind. "Yes, something I'd like to know as well," their would-be kidnapper said, a bit annoyed at the mare's joyful attitude. "We had to give that dragon an extra shot of that sleep spell. Everything okay in there, Kingy?" Sky said, poking his head into the room. "I'll be with you in a moment. I want to hear this," he said. "I'm not calm. I'm scared out of my wits, but I know we'll be okay because the doctor is coming, and that alone should make you bad ponies shake in your horseshoes," Ditzy told them. "Oh, we know all about your husband, the clockmaker," Sky said with a laugh. "What's he going to do, throw clocks at us?" Others in the hallway heard Sky's cheerful shouting and entered the room to see what was happening. hearing the half-crazed stallion happy and with anything usually spelled trouble for some pony. "No, you don't know my husband at all," Ditsy told them, looking into the eyes of each and every pony that held them captive. "I've seen whole armies turn and run at the mention of his name. The doctor is like fire and ice and rage. He's like the darkest night and the bright blazing storm in the heart of a sun. He's ancient and forever. He burns at the center of time, and he can see the turn of the universe. And he's wonderful," she said, a small blush spreading across her face. "I've traveled with him a long time before we settled down, and I've seen things that would make your blood run cold and your coat turn white. My Julian has taken down scarier and much more dangerous things than you, and he did it all without breaking a sweat. What do you think he's going to do to you?" she shouted. "Like I said, I feel sorry for you, because it's already too late for you, and you don't even know it. The doctor is coming, and he's bringing the sun, the moon, and the stars with him." Blueblood quickly exited the room. Something the mayor had said instilled a sense of panic in him, but he knew not where it originated. "Your Majesty, is everything all right?" one of his Earth Pony lieutenants asked. "I'm fine. Leave me," he shouted, a nervous sweat starting to form on his coat. "Where's the dragon?" "We have him in the cell you prepared for him, Your Highness," Nightwatch assured him. "Good, guys. Please attend me. I have need of your particular services," the unicorn said as he sauntered off to the cells in the basement of the castle. Spike woke to find himself chained to the wall of a stone cell, the only light coming through the small window of the cell's door. He felt something restraining his muzzle, but the chains prevented him from reaching it. Try as he might, the chains would not break or give in the slightest. A light flared to life in the corner of his cell, illuminating his dark surroundings and revealing the presence of Prince Blueblood and another stallion Spike didn't recognize. "Hello there, my old friend. How's the head?" Blueblood asked in an almost cheery tone. "You, this is your doing. What do you want with us?" Spike growled, barely able to speak under the bindings. "Is that any way to talk to the pony who holds your life in his hooves?" he asked. "Well, I guess it's not really me, but you yourself. You see, Spike, I'm planning a little hostile takeover of Equestria, and for that I need your help," he explained. "I'll never help you," the dragon assured him, trying to glare a hole into his adversary. "Skies, I don't like the insolent look in his eyes. Take one and see if that improves his attitude. I don't care which, the left one, I guess." "My pleasure, Your Majesty," the demented stallion said, advancing on the helpless dragon with a wicked-looking knife. Bah! Holy shit, no, Sorry. But this chapter is wow. Seriously, I mean, okay, they captured the spy in the castle. Okay, they arrived in time to see that Rarity and the others and the foals are kidnapped. But what the hell? Why didn't the princesses attack these stallions the moment they came out of that damn portal? That is something I will never understand. I mean, I'm really not a violent person, but if my child were captured and someone would tell me that they have my other child as well, try as I might, I would not hold back. I would tear them limb from limb. Why didn't Luna and Twilight do something? Why the hell? Why didn't Celestia attack? Why didn't Kirin do something? Kirin is next to Celestia the next most powerful being. What the fuck? Oh my god, I'm really mind-fucked right now. I mean, this chapter of all was really good. I mean, there were a few mistakes in the writing again, which forced me to improvise on the fly while I was reading it, or reread a whole part of it. But what the hell? I mean, damn. Sorry, I'm going to read the next chapter now, and wow. Sincerely yours, Visual Pony.